Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Engineer Almighty Formula here, and in this video we are going to talk about sequences and series and do a brief introduction. In subsequent video we'll solve several questions on different types of sequence and series. So first thing, we need to differentiate between a series and a sequence. There is a slight difference between a series and a sequence. So when we have a list of numbers that are arranged in a particular order, a list, keyword is list. When we have a list of numbers that are arranged in a particular order, we call it a sequence. So for example, 2, 4, 6, 8. This is a list of numbers because it is arranged in a particular order. What's the order? I'm just adding 2. 2 plus 2, 4 plus 2. So it has a particular order of arrangement. We'll call it a sequence. For example, we have 4, 10, 16, 22. This is also a list of numbers arranged in a particular order. What's the order of arrangement? I keep adding 4 to this. There's a pattern of arrangement. I keep adding 6 rather. There's a pattern of arrangement. So this dot dot is just telling me that it will continue. So that's what we call a sequence. But a series is the addition of a sequence. So series equals addition of sequence. So we are not just listing the numbers, we are adding it. So this one we have 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus whatever. This becomes a series. This is a sequence. So a sequence is just listing out the numbers. A series is adding these numbers to get a desired result. So there are some terms we hear in sequence and series. First thing you hear in sequence and series is you hear finite, a finite sequence. The next thing you will hear is infinite sequence. You hear this. Then the other thing you also hear, I'm talking about terms you will hear something called monotonic sequence. Then you also hear non-monotonic. So let me explain briefly what each of these terms mean. Now, if a sequence is known, the number of terms in a sequence is known, it is called a finite sequence. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8. There are 4 terms here. Because we know the number of terms, we say this is a finite sequence. If we have 2, 4, then we have dot dot dot, they will now have 100. This dot 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 is telling us that there are some things between here and here. So we know the first term and we know the last term. We know what started it and we know what ended it. This is also a finite sequence. But if we don't know the number of terms, by I don't know the number of terms, I mean we don't know the first term or we don't know the last term. It is an infinite sequence. So we have dots, 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 2, 4, 6, 8. This means this 3 dots is telling you that it started somewhere. We don't know where it started. So this becomes an infinite sequence. But if we have something like this, dots, dot, dots, we know it started from 2, but we don't know where it's going to end. Also an infinite sequence. Then, what is a monotonic sequence? A monotonic sequence is a sequence that is either increasing or decreasing. One out of the two. You cannot be doing both. It's either it is increasing alone or it is decreasing alone. So, for example, this sequence is increasing, is going up. So, this is a monotonic sequence. This sequence 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, -1. is decreasing, it's not increasing, it's decreasing, it is also a monotonic sequence because it is only decreasing. But for sequences that are both increasing and decreasing, we call them non-monotonic sequence. Non-monotonic sequence. So let's say we have 2 times it by 2, you get times it by -2, you get -4, times it by -2, you get +8, times it by -2, you get -16, times it by 2, you get +32. So we can see that from 2, it reduced to -4. -4, it increased to +8. For +8, it reduced to -16. You know, -16 is smaller than 8. So this is non-monotonic. 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 Why? It is both increasing and decreasing. So a brief recap, we have a monotonic sequence, we have non-monotonic sequence. Monotonic is either is increasing alone or it is not, or decreasing alone. Why non-monotonic is either is doing both, it's both increasing and decreasing. So the next thing is to talk about types of sequence. We have several types of sequence. We have several types of sequence. The first one is what we call the arithmetic sequence or arithmetic progression. Arithmetic, arithmetic, arithmetic progression. We have other type. We have what we call geometric progression. We have what we call harmonic sequence. We have also what we call quadratic sequence. We have what we call Fibonacci. I don't know how to spell this. Then and lots more, a lot of sequence. We have a whole lot of sequence. But for this level, we'll be dealing with arithmetic progression, geometric progression, quadratic sequence, and a touch of harmonic sequence. These are the 4 we'll be dealing with in this course. So I'll quickly introduce you to arithmetic sequence, and in subsequent video, we would talk about geometric sequence. So arithmetic sequence are sequences that have a linear relationship. What do I mean? A sequence that that each term is gotten by adding a constant number to the previous term is known as an arithmetic progression. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm adding a constant number 2. 2 plus 2, 4, plus same 2, 6, plus 2, 8. I'm adding a constant number. Or if I'm subtracting a constant number, let's say we have 10, 6, 2 minus 2. If I subtract 4 here, I'll get 6. If I subtract 4, I'll get 2. If I subtract 4, I'll get -2. So I'm adding or subtracting a constant number from the previous term to get the next term. That type of sequence is called an arithmetic sequence. But when I'm dividing or multiplying, that type of sequence will be called a geometric sequence. So there's a general formula for arithmetic sequence, and that formula is this. I won't go about deriving it. I will derive it. I will do a separate video to derive each of these formulas. So let's say we have, this is the formula, Cn is equals to A plus n minus 1d, or L is A plus n minus 1d. Now, what is the function of each of them? Tn is the nth term. So I'll give an example. Let's say we have 2, 5, 8, 11, 14. So this sequence, this is the first term. This is the second term. This is the third term. This is the fourth term. So Tn is the nth term. So if I'm saying look for the fourth term, I mean look for T4. So T4 is this guy, which is the fourth term. If I say look for the fifth term, this is the fifth term. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. T5 will be what we call the fifth term. So that's the meaning of Tn. A is the first term. A is the first term. So this is it, first term. Then D is the common difference. So what is common difference? That constant number that you're always adding, that constant number that you're always adding is what we call the common difference. So in this example, I'm adding 3. I'm always adding 3. So that becomes my common difference because I'm always adding 3. So the common difference D can be gotten by either you do the first term minus the second term minus the first term, or you do third term minus the second term, or you do fourth term minus the third term, and so on. So it's always the next number minus the previous number, or the upper number minus the previous number. So 14 minus 11 will give you 3, or 11 minus 8 will give you 3, or 8 minus 5 will give you 3. So that constant number you keep adding is what we call the common difference. Then what is L? L is last term. So if we are given a sequence, this sequence is infinite, we don't know the ending. But if we are given a sequence, let's say we have this, and let's say the last term is 17, this becomes our L, the last term. Then lastly, our N is number of term, number of term, number of term. So when you are talking about the first term, it means that N is 1. So first term, N is 1. Second term, N is 2. Third term, N is 3. Fourth term, N is 4, and so on. So that will be the end of this video. In our next video, I'll be teaching you how to solve several questions on arithmetic progression. Thanks for watching. Do not forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.